Hi, you guys. Kelly here from Alchemic Creations, a brand strategy and design company for spiritual bosses like yourself. I am so excited right now. Tomorrow is the very first time I'm about to launch a course. And if you know me, this is a big deal because I have been so busy taking on one-on-one clients and haven't really had the chance to be able to create some content to create a lower price point for some of you who are still kind of getting up and running and aren't able to kind of work with me one-on-one yet. So I'm just pumped to be able to release this course for you guys so you can get in and get a chance to really work with me one-on-one without having to dish out all your funds. So today in this tutorial, I'm going to be going through creating a PDF for you. It's actually going to be creating a workbook, which is part of one of the modules that we'll be going over. And what's even better is this workbook that I'm going to create real quick for this tutorial is going to be a freebie as part of the bonuses. So I'm really excited to share this with you guys. Just take a peek and let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here with you and walk you through this. So my PDF is going to be created in Canva because I know that's where a lot of you do your graphic design work. Personally, I use Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign depending on what project I'm using, but I know a lot of you DIY bosses yourself are preferring a platform like Canva, so that's what we're going to do the tutorial in today. So to go ahead and get started, I know I'm going to need an 8.5 by 11 document, so I'm just going to go ahead and select the letter template here. Go ahead and let Canva open its new little window here. And you always have a ton of templates to choose from, but since I'm creating a workbook from scratch, I obviously don't want to use one of their templates. I'm going to go ahead and do my own thing. So I'm going to go over to the elements section, and I'm going to pick a grid because I want a solid background photo. And we're going to go ahead and take up the whole background. I'm going to go over to my uploads, and I'm going to use an image that I've already got uploaded in there. So for Canva, you're just going to select the image you want, and then go ahead and kind of move it around, and it should auto drag and drop in there like so. If you can see here, this created a little bit of a zoomed in photo, which is not something I was necessarily going for. So my way to solve that is to just kind of resize by pulling and dragging and dropping the corners here so I can fit my entire image. I know I'm going to have a solid white background for my cover, so that just worked out perfect this way. So as you can see, I'm able to get the entire image in here like so. I want to go ahead and add in a little bit of my brand element. So I need another grid feature, but I'm going to resize that so it's super small and just a border element like so. Then I'm going to come back to my uploads and grab the pattern or texture that I would like to use. Drag and drop there, and I'm just going to repeat that step because if you know my branding, you'll notice that I do the two different patterns. So I'm going to do the exact same thing again here. Create a new grid, just drag and drop it to the size that I want, adjust it to where I need it to be, go back and grab the texture that I want, and drag and drop it over the frame, and there you have it. So now I have a nice little layout for my cover page here. And that looks like so. I would like to go ahead and add some text, so I'm going to go ahead and do a text box here. You'll notice my Canva has my old brand fonts. Actually, you might not notice that, but for me, it's my old Canva fonts because I haven't had a chance to upload to my new ones. So for the tutorial exercise here, I'm just going to ignore that and use my old brand fonts. So go ahead and add your title in here. And then for me, I know I'm going to have a subtitle. Sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time. So I've now created my title. I've gone ahead and created my little subtitle here. For some of you, you might think this is a little bit hard on the eyes to read. I agree with you. I don't like having my text too blurred into my background because it really makes it hard for the reader to focus on. So a few tricks that you could do would be to go over to your elements, grab your shapes, and just go ahead and grab a square. Go ahead and resize it to what you need for your title. Pull it down, and then in order to stick it behind the text, you're going to have to go ahead and go to the arrange section over here in the right hand corner and just send it back behind the text. I can see it's a little cramped up for my taste personally, so I'm just going to give it a little bit more space. Paying attention to these purple guides that are showing up, letting me know where I'm at to center my content. So obviously my text is off. I'm going to go ahead and move that down and get everything set up accordingly to how I like it. And then for me, I never like to have dark text on dark colors. So I will always go to a white text if I'm using a dark colored background. The same goes for if you're using a light colored background, you always want to make sure you're using a dark text. If you do dark colored on dark text, or I should say dark text on dark color, it makes it really hard to see. And the same goes for light text on light colored backgrounds. So you always want to make sure they counter each other so you can be able to read what's going on. Another trick that you can do if you want to still see some of the image but make the reading still legible, you can go ahead and mess with your transparency. This will go ahead and make it a little bit see-through if I wanted to go a route like that. For the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to go ahead and leave that. So the next step would be to create a new page. You can do that by clicking the bottom button here. And now I have another blank template. If you know you're going to have the same layout, the best option would be to just copy the page that you've already started. For me, I'm only going to be using these two bottom sections, so what I'm going to actually do is copy and paste. And the way to do that is just to come out off to the side, click and hold your mouse button so you create this dragging option, so you're selecting both layers. And then once you see that both are selected, you're going to go ahead and Control-C if you're on a PC or a Windows, or I think it's Command-C if you're on an Apple or Mac. So I've gone ahead and Control-C because I'm on PC. So I'm going to come down to my next page. Make sure you click in it so you know you're on it. And then Control-V will go ahead and paste that option, or again, Command-V if you're on an Apple or Mac. So you notice that went ahead and kept my format so my pages stay consistent. This is definitely something you want to keep whenever you're creating some sort of workbook. So for me, I need to go ahead and add another text for your title here. Let's just say that's going to go there. And then now I'm going to go ahead and create my checklist. So I have 4 different sections that I'm going to be creating checklists for. And so what I need to do here is go ahead and create my little text for my first section. Again, always paying attention to your navigation lines to make sure you're lining up to what you want. I know this is going to need to be left aligned, so that's going to make it a little bit easier for me. So I would just put that there. And this is going to be step 1. Okay, so I have my first section. Now I need my checklist items. So of course, I'm going to go back to my elements. My shapes is already selected because I was using that previously. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down just to my checkbox little icon here. Obviously, that's huge, so I'm going to click on the corner and drag and drop to the size I need. I need this to be extremely small because I'm making a checklist. So 43 pixels by 43 pixels looks to be pretty good. You can always adjust it and make it smaller or larger once you've added your content in a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and line this up with the left side of my title there, as you can see by the purple navigation line. And when I click to the side, I can see how big my box is. It's bigger than my text here, so I'm actually going to make that smaller. You don't want the icon to overpower your messaging or your word or text or whatever you have going on. So let's just shrink that a little bit more. Now it's pretty good at size 32 by 32. So now I have my first checkbox. So I'm going to add another line of text and then drag and drop that up to my box. Notice how it created a nice little perfect alignment with my checkbox. That's what you want to aim for so you know that it's completely even with each other. So that's good. Still leaving enough space between your text as well as your checkbox. Make sure you do left alignment because you don't want to center your text if you're doing a checklist. It'll make it look a little funny. So the first area is going to be, make sure you're in your text box before you type. Okay, there is action item 1. And again, I want to scoot it over just a little bit so I know I'm centered by using my purple navigation lines. Now, the easiest way to go ahead and duplicate the same two sets of things, the checkbox and the line that you just created, would be to do that drag and drop feature that I mentioned earlier. Off to the side of the screen, click, and this is actually going to get that, so I'm going to let go and go a little bit lower. Now I know both items are selected. Go ahead and copy those items, and now you've got two more. So drag and drop so your checkbox is aligned evenly. Grab your other set of text and line that up so it matches your other one. Go ahead and add in your second check item. And you're just going to go ahead and keep repeating that until you've got your items. Paying attention always to the navigation lines so you are even and keeping consistent flow throughout. There we go. Okay, so for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to go ahead and keep this short. As you notice, that's how you're going to create your checklist items. If you wanted to go ahead and put in an area for a paragraph text, or maybe you wanted to create a line of text for an answer, let's go ahead and show you how to do first a paragraph question. So say, make sure it's lined up again. See, and if it's center align, you want to make sure to left align it so everything stays even. So go ahead and put in again, making sure everything's aligned right. And then you would just add in a giant box. Going back to your elements, creating or selecting the hollowed out square, and just making it as much as you want. Now, if you don't like how thick that line is, another trick would be to create, let's go ahead and delete this one and I'll show you. Undo that because I didn't mean to delete the whole page. If you ever do an accident like that and you delete the whole page in an accident, you can come up to the upper left-hand corner and just hit undo, and it's going to undo what you just did. If you want to just delete the one item like I just meant to do, make sure it's selected and then go up in the upper right-hand corner and delete the item. Okay, so if you wanted to create a text box that didn't have such a thick line, you would go ahead and use the regular shape. Make it however big you want your text box. And then you're going to make that whatever outline color you want the box to be. For me, I would like black. Grab another square, match it so you're creating your own border, however thick you want that. For me, I like really thin borders. I don't like super thick ones. Again, paying attention to my navigation lines here so I know I'm center where I need to be. And then I would make my text box white. So now I have a much thinner version of that checkbox or that giant text box. Okay, so that's how you would create a box if you want to be able to have enough space for it for a paragraph type of question or answer. That basically goes ahead and creates your workbook. I know this kind of got a little bit long since I was making a little bit more than I needed to, but you get the idea. So if you wanted to go ahead and keep adding your questions, that's exactly how you would do it. You could always add in pictures if you wanted. By creating different little areas. I don't know, if you wanted to maybe put an example of something in, you would just add your image. Again, making sure to align it. And now you have this really pretty little workbook here. So at that point, you would go ahead and download as a PDF for print if you're going to be printing it out. Or if it's just something you're emailing, you can always get away with PDF standard. All right, you guys, I hope that kind of helps on how to use Canva to create a PDF document of some sort. If you have any questions at all, let me know. Like I said, I am going to be launching sales for the Brand Alchemy 101 course tomorrow. So pre-sales will begin as soon as I get the rest of my landing page done for you guys. I cannot wait. You're going to get 6 modules. That's 6 weeks worth of learning, creating a beautiful brand all on your own. We're going to have 6 weeks of Zoom calls in between. So we have a mastermind-like forum so everybody can answer and talk about the work they're creating. You're also going to get some bonus time with me, some one-on-one time. So I will be dropping that link tomorrow just to give you guys an idea. Pre-sale, are you ready for this? Tickets are only, I shouldn't say tickets, access is only going to be $199. You're going to get so much shit for that $199, including a beautiful brand, one-on-one time with me, and of course, lifetime access to this. So the more I upgrade this and the more I release this in the future, you're always going to have access at that $199 rate. So stick with me. Tomorrow is going to be a huge day, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. So thanks again for hanging out with me during this tutorial. I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon, and I will see you guys very soon. Have a good one.